Alright, so you guys know the Amino app that's been advertised on a lot of people's channels. Well, I decided to download it and check it out, and it's pretty interesting. So my first post on Amino was about crits, because I don't know a ton about building crits. I usually play more tanky characters, or when I do play damage characters, it's either a mage or maybe Thor, like assassins, where I build sort of a mix between pen and defense. So I recently started getting into hunters, and I mean, sometimes hunters build crits, so I just wanted to know what the dealio is. And usually, actually, when I build hunters, I don't go for crits because I just don't know what works with who. So I posed the question: when do you guys use crit builds, especially since pen builds are so popular during the current meta? And I actually got quite a few replies, and I want to thank you guys. It was like 3 weeks ago when I posted this question. So a lot of people had different opinions on this, and so I was just wanting to get a broader audience, perhaps if anybody happens to watch this video and want to participate in the conversation. So from my understanding, and from what I've read from other people, crits only work with basic attacks. I mean, that seems obvious to anybody who knows much about this game, but crits, they work with basic attacks, so they're mostly not built for I mean, they're not built on gods who don't utilize basic attacks as much. But hunters, since most of their damage comes from basics, that's where you'll see the majority of crit items built. But even in that case, a lot of people said they still don't build crits for certain reasons. But then there were a lot of people who do build crits, and there was one guy who actually kind of made me laugh. He said, where was it? I've got it pulled up right here on my phone. I use them for basically all of my hunters and assassins. I have a problem with crit builds. It's an addiction, really. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, from what I've seen on Amino, it's all over the place. So from my understanding, when you build power and pen, that is more useful for your abilities. So say you're playing Neith, she gets a lot of damage out of her abilities, so you might want to build some attack speed and some power. Things like Titan's Bane, maybe some chin size for consistent damage for her basic attacks and things like that. But I don't know, I've never really tried crits on her, just because I always go for Transcendence and Titan's Bane and Chin Size and Aussie and Warrior Boots. There are a few gods that I've tried building crits on that I actually feel like they work out, and I don't know what it is, but certain hunters, it does seem to work for me, and these are Cupid and Apollo. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that Apollo, if I do get into trouble, I can just mez and put them to sleep and like roll on out, get the hell out of there. But what I've been trying to do on Apollo lately is I build, it's kind of a weird build. I obviously I build my boots and my lifesteal item, which I've been going with Soul Eater lately because it gives you that attack speed bonus. But then I go Hasten Fatalis so I can, of course, move and shoot at the same time without losing speed. And also kind of stick to people when I'm shooting them and chasing. And Frostbound Hammer, so the Frostalis combo, which I think was a lot more popular a long time ago, but I've been using it on Apollo a lot because it helps me escape and it helps me chase people. Because what Frostbound Hammer does is it slows everybody that you hit with a basic attack. It slows them for a couple seconds. So if you're just sitting there, you're pounding them with basic attacks, and they can't move because they're being slowed, and you're just kind of dancing around them in a circle, strafing back and forth and shooting them because your Hasten Fatalis is allowing you to move around and dodge their attacks. So it's actually kind of fun. But then I build 2 crit items on them, and what I've been building lately is Rage and Deathbringer. Now I think Rage isn't as popular anymore because I don't know, it's just not as powerful as Deathbringer and Malice, and I think some other items seem to be getting priority over Rage, like Wind Demon, maybe even, I don't know the name of the other one, but I'm thinking of right now. But yeah, those items. So there's a bug on my desk. Get out of here. But yeah, so I've built crits on him. But even in those scenarios, I've noticed like I could be doing just as successful if I don't use that setup. I feel like I'm just as successful with Apollo and Cupid, maybe even more so if I build Transcendence and then Ossian Chinsai's and Titan's Bane and Golden Bow, for example. Not Golden Bow, Odysseus Bow. Golden Bow's not in the game anymore. So, I mean, so I'm just curious. What gods do you guys feel like crits are useful on, and why? And just go ahead and have that conversation with me. Also, assassins and warriors, because as we know, crits, you can build crits on any physical god. So if you wanted to, and I've seen it done, you can build crits on Odin and Bellona, which, by the way, please don't. Oh God, please don't. It just doesn't work. So, oh man, I've got some bad memories. And Robin, yeah, don't do that either. Just don't. I just don't build crits on warriors. Period. But some assassins it will work on. I used to build crits on Thor actually when I first started playing this game, and it worked out well for me, but I think that was because I was playing against other people who were new to the game, and I just kind of picked up a little bit faster on how to play the game and how to use Thor, because he's one of the harder gods to really master and get super good with, but I was able to figure out how to play him pretty quick. So when I figured out how to play him, I was just kind of wrecking a bunch of other new players because they didn't know how to counter him. And what I would do is I would just use my ultimate, dive down on people, and just do my little stun combo, and then I would just start whacking them with my hammer, and I would get all these crits. And they were kind of panicking because I came out of nowhere and started beating the shit out of them with my hammer. And then I was also getting these 700, 800 hit crits because I was building a bunch of crit items and Frostbound hammer. So it was just like I think my build was Warrior Boots, Jotun's Wrath, Odysseus Bow, Rage Deathbringer, and Frostbound hammer, and that was super successful for me. I'm sure I've got a video saved somewhere where I was using that build, and I'll do a different video on that. But yeah, it was funny. But I used to I would get 20 kills in an arena consistently. It was pretty funny actually. But yeah, that can work sometimes on assassins, and it can work on Thor, but in a higher level play, I would never try it. It just doesn't seem very smart to me. But yeah, there are gods like Hunbats and apparently Serket Nija, and some people even use crits on Loki and oh god, what's the name? Serket, yeah. So I don't know, those other certain assassins I'm not familiar with. I've mostly played Thor and a little bit of Wheelix. But other than that, yeah, I'm just curious to know what you guys think. Plus the fact that crits are much more expensive. It takes a while to get. Somebody on my amino thread even mentioned that they're saying that it's so expensive that you don't really need to. You shouldn't risk buying crits unless you're way ahead. And even if you're way ahead, then it doesn't really matter what you build because you're gonna have the advantage in levels and items and gold anyway. So it really doesn't matter. So I mean, should you just buy crits because you feel like it, because you think it's fun to get those high damage hits on people, or would you rather just go with something more consistent? But I mean, if you build 2 or 3 crit items, you're consistently going to be getting crits anyways. So I don't know. It's just a conundrum I've felt myself struggling with, and yeah, I'm just curious what everybody else thinks. So that's the question of this video: what gods are good with crits and what scenarios? Because obviously, you shouldn't just build a build for the sake of the build. You should, cater your build to the scenario you're in, to what gods you're up against, and maybe that's the key factor in this. Building crits, it just depends what gods you're up against. If you're up against, maybe a bunch of squishy guys, you should build crits. Or if you're up against and this is like just in general, like, because sometimes when you're playing Arena or Clash or Joust, you don't have a balanced team on the other team, and you know that's just the way it is sometimes. But if you're up against a bunch of tanky guys, you might want to build more pen. I don't know. It's an open question, and I invite everybody to participate. Because I'm curious. I want to learn. I want to learn more about the game, and I want to become more knowledgeable, and I want to become better at the game. And in order to do that, I have to ask questions, and I have to search for knowledge. So this is my attempts. So I'm gonna stop rambling now. I really want to thank everybody who participated in the Amino thread that I made. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to read all of your suggestions, and everybody was really cool about it, so I really appreciate it. And to anybody who watches this video, I appreciate you as well. And I would love to hear your opinion on crits and when they're useful and when they're not. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Have an excellent day.